That one. Well, welcome back. I'm Joe Hyde with San Angelo Live, and this is our update number. Yantis, what are we on? Five?
Four, five,
Four,
five,
five.
something
We
like
don't
that.
even know because we're just going all night until either Trump wins, Kamala wins, or 2 a.m., whichever one, because last call is 2 a.m. But we're joined today, or joined this second to last or last live stream with Congressman August Pfluger, who is a Republican congressman, represents CD 11, Congressional District 11, that spans from Killeen all the way through San Angelo, all the way to Midland, Odessa. Did I get that right?
You got it. That's right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, August, you've been kind of part of the Republican resurgence, I guess you want to call it. 100 bills you've passed, or you've proposed. You've written 100 pieces of legislation in basically 3 years. Will you say that?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Have anyone become law?
We have. We've had several become law, but one of the reasons that has happened is because we had majority of the House. We had the Speaker.
Right.
We're able to take control of the floor and get our agenda passed, and that's really important. So yeah, we're active.
You're active.
100 pieces of legislation, but you know, you can write all the legislation you want, but you got to get it across the finish line, which we've done.
One of the big money guys, I travel all over your district, right? So one of your big money guys say, well, you know, we hired August to get up there and raise hell. And so a lot of your legislation really is to protect the oil and gas industry. And you're the one that came out with this Midland, not Moscow. Remember that when they were buying oil from Moscow, buying oil from Russia? And so a lot of the legislation you passed, you know, is to, I guess, shame the Democratic administration about protecting lizards and not jobs.
Let me rephrase it. I would say that the legislation we are proposing and will pass when Donald Trump is president is to protect the American people from an overreaching government, from a government that wants to tell you what kind of car to drive, that you can't have a gas stove,
right.
and that you don't need oil and gas, that you need Chinese batteries in
right.
your house. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to do, which is fighting an overreaching, egregiously acting government.
And what do you think the other piece of it is this open border, which has impacted Congressional District 11 in a big way?
Well, it certainly has. It started several years ago when we had 700 plus kids that were dumped into Midland.
Remember that they had a facility. They used an old shut down facility that was
a man camp.
Yeah.
Oil and gas facility.
Yeah.
They
so
didn't
that was
call anybody in the city.
And that's interesting because we had the man camps because we had the big oil boom from 2015 to 16.
Yeah.
Remember, it kind of then went crashed for a little bit, and we emptied the man camps. So they go find one and they fill it with illegal immigrants.
Right.
And it's like taking those were jobs in the man camp, and we replace them with illegal immigrants who are on welfare, basically.
So you start with that. You go to the Tambunga family that lost a 71-year-old grandmother, the 7-year-old granddaughter, because an illegal immigrant was driving 15 people in the back of his truck at 100 miles an hour, evading law enforcement, and hits these innocent people, kills them instantly. And our district has felt
that happened in Crockett County down in Ozona.
That's right.
Right there at access road to I-10, the main drag going through town.
But we felt the negative effects of this administration. So to say we're excited about election night and about the results that we're starting to see come in, places like Ohio, obviously we're waiting on numbers in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But we're very excited about the trends we're seeing for the White House right now.
So how big do you think? Yantis has this editorial out where he talks about the reason why Trump's winning is because he's been able to build a larger coalition than he did back in 2020.
And I basically called it a landslide is what I'm predicting. And the reason is because he owns the party. It's his Republican Party. And beyond that, he saw that he needed numbers outside of the party. So when he got the Elon Musk, who would reach, he's going to get us back to the moon, and the guy's getting,
Mars. He's going to Mars
with satellites, and he does make the electric cars, but he's going back to the moon. And that's the kind of guy that's going to get voters who are not necessarily Republicans. It's bringing in more people.
I think you're right. And Trump is in touch with what everyday Americans are feeling, what we are thinking, we think, well, I wish that I could say that. Well, Trump says it.
Yeah.
Right.
And he expresses it in a way that working class Americans say, yes, I'm tired of the government telling me what to do. I'm tired of prices being too high. I just want to raise my family. And he has brought out people who haven't voted before in a lot of different places. He's bringing people, Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, it doesn't matter, working class people that just want to live in a free country. He's bringing them to the polls.
And one of the things I wrote about was these massive rallies. I mean, he's circumventing the traditional media. And if you watch these rallies, and it hit me when he was in Madison Square Garden, he's very articulate, very positive, and he goes through those very points. I'm just like you, and I'm listening to you, and let's do the things you want done. And when you listen to him, you think, well, of course he's going to win, because he's one of us.
Right.
And he did he brought in the Tulsi Gabbard, and also Robert Kennedy Jr. Brilliant moves that nobody else could have done. And I love Nikki Haley and I love Ron DeSantis, but they would not have thought outside the party and been able to do that because they're simply not Donald Trump.
Yeah, he has been effective for that reason. When he came to Midland, and I welcomed him, my wife and I were able to welcome him on the tarmac, the thing he said when he stepped foot on the Midland-Odessa International Airport was, "Drill, baby, drill."
There you
Because
go.
he understands that we are giving away our power, literally,
Right.
to Russia, to China, to Venezuela, to Iran. And he says, let's do it here.
Right.
Let's build things here. Let's produce things here. Let's bring the economy back here. Let's produce energy in the United States of America and benefit ourselves, not only economically, but as a source of a tool of national security.
I think Trump's been right on the energy policy because, when you outsource jobs to China, and let's say you can get cheap labor, but your energy costs are through the moon, that makes us competitive.
That's right.
Very competitive.
And he understands what West Texas has meant to him.
Right.
The policies that he had in 2017 to 2020 gave him a tool where he was able to deter aggression
Right.
from Iran, deter aggression from Russia, deter aggression from China.
And if you
and
remember,
use that as a tool.
you remember back in 2019, we were energy interdependent. We were exporting energy.
We were exporting more than we were importing. We were the number one producer in the world. Our economy was on all 8 cylinders. Prices were low. Families were successful. Businesses were humming along.
Yeah.
And then we had COVID.
Right.
And everything after that changed. When Joe Biden took over, he made it worse. He made everything worse because he restricted the production of energy. And Trump told me, drill, baby, drill. He knows what it means to be strong. He's a businessman. He's going to make good decisions for our country.
So about 6 months ago, my gut was telling me that Trump was going to win. My brain was saying, no, he's not going to win. I went with my gut because right before COVID, San Angelo Live was in a major expansion, and we were getting into live music events, and we were looking at, Yantis remember this, we were looking at maybe doing some Texas music things and things like that. And then COVID happened, and I just shut it all down and became like, all I did was sell to the government, basically. That's what I did. And it makes you lazy, and you just I just sat back and basically cruised. And about 6 months ago, I said, I got to get busy. Because you only have one life to live, right?
That's right.
So that's why I invested in things like this place, and I invested in, expanding into Lubbock, thinking that Trump was going to win, he's going to turn the economy around. And in 2016, I remember on the day after Trump won, before then, it was the worst year I ever had in business, and I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. It was the worst year. You go to try to sell advertising to a potential client, they have a long face. Their horns are sawed off, and they don't have any fangs showing, and they don't want to do anything. They're just sitting back, hoarding their cash, if they had any, right? The day after, and I guess I'll tell you, Mark Priest at Legend Jewelers was my barometer. Because beforehand he was like, no, I ain't going to do anything. I'm just going to cruise along here, thinking Hillary was going to win.
Right.
The day after I went to see him, he said, man, my phone is, I can't get off the phone. People are calling me nonstop. I'm selling stuff. It was like a switch turned on.
Because people know that he's going to unleash our economy.
Right.
Look, here's what's at stake tonight, and this is what I'm watching for.
Right.
Is when you look at places like Pennsylvania and Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan, these are states that produce things. These are manufacturing states, the Rust Belt of America. We're bringing manufacturing out of China back to the United States. But because of government overreach, because of a regulatory environment that stifles production and innovation and all those things, we haven't been able to expand. Prices are still high. Trump is going to cut government regulations.
Yep.
He's going to allow people to invest in advertising, to invest in building things. In San Angelo, Texas, we're going to build things here.
We also
We're
sit.
going to continue to build and innovate
We
and
sit.
do things.
We
here.
sit in such a great position in San Angelo because we're in the catbird seat, looking over the Permian. And the thing is, the more people we have working in the Permian, the more people we have making more money, working overtime, making more and more in their hourly salaries, they'll come back and they'll buy a Ford from Jim Bass Ford.
That's right. And
You know?
they'll live here.
Yes.
And their kids will go to school here.
Yep.
Right.
And they will open small businesses. Their spouses will do certain things here. Our economy, our country can be so strong. But let me tell you, we live in a dangerous world. And you know this as well
Right.
as I do, being an Air Force pilot, that we've got adversaries out there just waiting to pounce when they see the weakness that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have brought to us. So I'm praying tonight that we get that 270 number eclipsed, that we can call this thing tonight, that we can move into the next era where we deter our enemies and where we actually celebrate Americans who want to do the right thing, that want to live in this country, start businesses, and raise their families. That's what I'm excited about tonight.
That's well said. And one of the other things that he talks about is the possibility of mass deportation, of fixing the border and fixing immigration. You have any clue what that might look like? What
Listen,
that process would be?
Almost 10 million people have come into this country illegally that we know about.
Right.
300 plus have matched the terror watch list. Tens of thousands are gang affiliated. The deaths of many Americans have been attributed to this fact. But more than that, we've had a deconstruction of the rule of law. President Trump understands that it starts at the border. You have to enforce the laws. They have not done that. Mayorkas, I was part of the impeachment team.
Yep.
And this will go down as the worst cabinet in the history of our country. The least qualified, the least honest, the least transparent, and the worst cabinet that we've ever had. We've got to get back to business people, to military expertise, to those that have transparent and patriotic feelings. Yes, President Trump is serious about deportations. He is serious about enforcing the law at the border. Our safety, our survival, and the existence of our country depends on that.
You know, the last thing I'll say that one of the main reasons why we need to elect Trump is that if Kamala Harris, whoever controls her, wins, what happens to Elon Musk and X and the free speech we've been able to
Suppression
have?
of free speech is
We have-
everywhere. We
yeah.
know that that's going to
And
continue.
you know, everyone that's in this audience has probably had the threat, or if not been in Facebook jail
Right.
for saying the wrong thing.
What kind of country is this?
Nobody wants to be school-marmed to death, you know?
Well, I'm proud to serve in the House on the Energy and Commerce Committee where we deal with these things. I've just written Google the third letter asking them to answer certain questions and Meta on why they're suppressing information, why they're biasing their algorithms to one ideology, or in away from conservative thought.
And
This is important.
and people see that. You know, you see that.
But
every
they've
time
accepted. A
you
lot of people just
go on
accepted
social
it.
media.
They
We're
just
not
accepted
accepting it anymore.
A lot of people just accepted, said this is the way it is. I'm just going to stay
If
away
we-
from it.
Listen, if we don't have control of the House, and I'm watching this very closely tonight, having the ability to call these hearings, to do the oversight, to write the letters,
Right.
that goes away.
Yeah.
All of that goes away. This is really important tonight. I've fought very hard for members from New York to California. I've been on the campaign trail. I've fundraised for these guys and gals. We're watching Iowa and Nebraska, New York and California, everywhere in between. But it's going to come down to the wire. I'm still optimistic at this point in
So
time.
watch
It
the
is gonna
House,
come down to
watch
the
the
wire.
House and the Senate. What about in the Senate, Michigan and Kerry Lake in Arizona? I don't know how they're doing. I guess Arizona returns are probably not in
We're
there.
neck and neck in Michigan right now.
Are they?
They've called the Senate, so we do have a majority in the Senate.
Okay.
With West Virginia and Ohio being called.
Okay.
North Carolina is a win for the presidency. So things are trending in the right direction, but Michigan is still on the table. Then this would be great,
Right.
to win that, to win Arizona, as you said, with Kerry Lake. But again, the scenario where you might win the Senate and the White House, but not have the House.
Yeah, then
Think about what they did to President Trump twice. They impeached him twice on a sham
Right.
of a trial.
Not taking care of the people's business,
We
instead
are-
going to sham impeachments.
Right. So, thank y'all for getting the message out. Thanks for the support from the Concho Valley and everywhere around San Angelo. We've got it right here. This is the best district in the entire country. We produce more energy. We have more farmland and ranch land, and we have military bases that keep us safe, which is why I love going to Washington, D.C. and representing this district, because it's just American strength. This
Right.
is strength.
That's right here, yeah. Well, August Pfluger, thank you for coming on. And, the thing is, last year or 4 years ago, I went to sleep thinking that things were going to be okay.
Right.
And I woke up and things weren't okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sleep.
Well, Joe, thanks for watching for us.
Hey, man, we'll see you on the as soon as we have some good
Always
news.
good to see you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And I'm Joe Hyde, San Angelo Live. This is Yantis Green, my co-host. This is Congressman August Pfluger from Congressional District 11 in Texas. And this is San Angelo Live, broadcasting live from the ArcLight Bar and Grill inside the Clarion Hotel at 441 Rio Concho. We're going to be here for a while until the polls, I guess, kind of show some good things. Do we have Banda before we go? Banda. I guess Banda's not listening. Banda's not listening. Do we have new numbers? Yes. No new numbers yet? Yeah, we do have new numbers. Refresh that. Look at this. This is just Tom Green County. Trump's still holding at 74%. If you notice, I think we got most of the day of voting. Man, 32,000 people voted for Trump. So we had about 43,000 people vote today. That's so far. We probably have one more drop from the elections office. Next, Ted Cruz. Man, he's dropped a little bit under Trump. He's there. He's still winning 70%. That's a landslide.
Told you.
Let's go to the next one. Christy Craddock is going to, at 72%, is going to stay on the Railroad Commission. Next, Republican John Devine, Supreme Court Justice, place 4. So we're going to keep some Republican control there if this holds statewide. Next. That's it?
That is next.
Oh, next, okay. And then we've got David Schnick. Once again, he won. All the Republicans keep going. These are the Court of Criminal Appeals. This is basically your Supreme Court for all criminal cases in Texas. The Republican won there. There's another Republican, Lee Findley, at 77%. It's like the Republicans showed out in force, and they voted R. Aaron Kinsley, good friend of mine, another fellow Air Force pilot, 72% for the State Board of Education for District 15. John Messenger there with the Third Court of Appeals, and that's in Austin. He did pretty good in this county. Now here comes the county local results. Ralph Holscher. I guess we're going to call it for him now. Ralph is now the re-elected county commissioner for Precinct 1, defeating Danny Cardenas. Rick Bacon, we had him on earlier. Looks like he handily won re-election. Next, this is the Miles ISD School District, and you pick the top 2. So it looks like Melissa, I can't pronounce it.
Hohensee.
Melissa Hohensee, and who's that, 21? Dean Burris. So there you go. Congratulations, those two. Water Valley ISD, the top 4 there. And if you can see that, looks like Clay Lang, and then we got Chris Tipton, Wade Bannister, and Jennifer Weesey. Cristobal ISD, how are we looking there? We're looking, man, this one's tight. This one's tight. Coda Gins won. Looks like he's on there. Diego Cardona, and we're picking 3. So after
Jana
50,
Aguirre,
the very bottom one, yeah, Jana Aguirre. San Angelo ISD Proposition A won handedly. In fact, it went down a point from the early voting, but Prop A won. And then Miles ISD is going to get, looks like that won this election. Their bond for, I think it's about $6 million, where they're going to redo the high school, middle school, and get a cafetorium. Anyway, that's it. I'm Joe Hyde, San Angelo Live with Yantis Green and Congressman